Hello and welcome to The Root of All Real Estate. I'm your host, Etienne Meller, owner of 3 real estate agencies with 20 plus years of experience generating over 20 million in yearly gross revenue. I'm very happy to have you join us today. Whether you're a seasoned real estate agent, a business owner, a first-time home buyer, or just curious about the latest market trends, we've got something for everyone. Now let's get started.
You are listening to The Root of All Real Estate. Hi, I'm Karen Kurtz.
Let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
35 years.
34.
34. So what is that quick math? 1980.
Started in 1991.
91.
Yeah. Started officially January the 3rd, 1992.
Why? Why did you get into real estate? Like, what was the nudge?
I was the Director General for the Independent Telephone Companies of Canada. And before that, I was working at Bell Canada and I was doing net present value studies and facsimile studies for telephones, secondary telephones that would have to be installed in homes, especially in Toronto. And I did a big study on it and they kind of promoted me through the program really fast.
Nothing to do with real estate.
Nothing to do with real estate. And one day, my big brother was moving back from Toronto, and I was born and raised in St. Lambert, and my parents went to look at a house for my brother because he was coming back, and they asked me, would I like to tag along to see what the house looked like? I met the real estate agent at the time, who's with a small brokerage house, and she knew me from, seeing us around, and she said, do you like real estate? And I said, it's something I might want to do one day because I have a passion for houses.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. And I got pregnant and I got pregnant and I took the real estate course while I was pregnant for my daughter. And the first year I did quite well in real estate.
Full time. So you quit?
Well,
when you were on
the telephone company, this Canadian independent telephone company, wanted to move their office to Toronto, and I didn't want to move. I was very close to my family. I was just getting married. I lived one street from my parents. So I said, no, thank you. So that's kind of what propelled me into going into another career because I knew I just couldn't stay home.
And did it coincide with the pregnancy
also?
Oh,
same time.
So it all kind of happened
yes.
with some kind of a purpose, or it was meant to be, I guess?
It was meant to be.
So you started full-time as an agent back then?
January the 3rd, I believe, something during January 3rd or 5th, 1992, because I gave birth in 91.
How was that experience, if you recall, the first few months, the first year? Because we all think, well, often, not all, but we generally think being an agent is going to mean this or that. And from the outside perspective, looking in when you're doing the course, was it what you thought? And how was that first year, if you recall? The good and the bad.
It's funny because, Etienne, this is interesting because I haven't thought about this in like eons.
And we have to say, I didn't tell you
what
we were going to talk about.
No clue. So this is really fascinating to dig into my memory bank right now.
And if you don't feel comfortable,
I'm fine.
Any questions you say.
That's fine. Because I loved real estate so much, this broker who owned her company said to me, would you be interested in maybe coming to work with me one day? This is when we were visiting to find a house for my brother, moving back from Toronto. And I said, that could be interesting. So I took the real estate course. And when I gave birth, I gave birth in May 21st, 91. And I started in January 3rd of 92. So I took the real estate course in that fall.
Okay.
I'm going back my timeline. I lived one block from my parents. I took the course because I was born and raised in St. Lambert at Champlain Regional College. I remember a specific uncle saying to me, you're a McGill graduate and you're becoming a real estate agent.
Like that? With that tone?
Yeah. It was kind of like he was shocked that his little niece was going to become a real estate agent instead of going on to, because I was going to go into graduate studies and thinking of becoming a lawyer. Well, life propelled me in that direction with giving birth, and I took the real estate course, and I would take my little baby to my parents every night at 5 o'clock, and I'd go to school from 6 to 10, pick up the baby on the way home. I've never been lazy, just like my parents. So I took the course. It took 4 months. Graduated top of the class. I remember like stirring spaghetti sauces and holding my baby and like just
That's a lot.
But it was, to me, it was just so natural. I would have never, in a Academy Awards and nominations, they always say, what made you succeed in life? Like, who was your mentor, whatever. It was my parents. My mother was a hardworking, she was in real estate like probably 60 years ago, before it became this big industry sort of thing.
You mean as an investor? Or?
No, as a realtor.
Oh,
She did a lot of leasing of properties. My father got into real estate with me, probably 5 years after I started in real estate. He took the course, and I had already been in real estate for 6 years when I convinced him, Daddy, go back to school and take your real estate degree.
What was he doing before?
He was doing mergers and acquisitions.
Oh, okay.
And he was still doing it for like 50 years. And I said, why don't you become a licensed agent and we can work together? So my dad, one of my brothers, my sister-in-law, my husband, the 5 of us all had our real estate license together. That was after I'd been in real estate for 6 years at Royal LePage.
You should have had your own agency.
You know, the funny thing.
Looking back, no?
No, I'll tell you something. I have 2 daughters, and one of them specifically kept saying to me, because the second year of real estate, I had my children very close, 18 months apart, 91 and 92. And I actually missed the final exam of the law course, but I had done so well in everything that I flew through it. They gave me all my pass, and I did very well. And I had the license because I have my commercial and residential real estate license, and I had the capability of opening my own company.
Yes.
But I thought, you know what, I had my 2 little girls, and I was close to my parents, and I thought to take on this added.
It's an additional.
Yeah, I did look into buying a franchise, a Royal LePage franchise, actually. And we were going down the road of doing it, and I was doing it with my dad. He was a spectacular businessman.
Well, if he did the mergers and acquisitions, this was
like it was a done deal. And then I just decided, you know what, I was going through a divorce at the time, and I didn't think it would be the right time. I had to focus on my children. And I thought, you know what, I have enough with my clients and particular issues sometimes. Do I want to be running a company and have, back then it was 25 realtors.
Yes.
Did I really want to have times 25 potential headaches? It was never about money for me with getting into real estate. It was the love and the passion of seeing houses. And I've always been very excited about marrying the right buyer with that property.
Well, I'm happy you say that, because there is, though, and I'm sure you lived some very difficult times, because you're pointing out the greatness of being an agent, a realtor, the why and the fun, but it also takes a certain personality to go through all of the hardships and the pain and the difficult times and the financial pressure. And because I've met many brokers. I was one for many years. It's funny, I haven't met no one that hasn't agreed with me on this. Maybe you'll be the first. But there's always, as an agent, a realtor, a period. Could be 6 months, could be 3 months, where it seems like nothing works. I had one of those periods where it just seemed like no matter what I did, the vendors would change their mind. The inspection wouldn't work out with the other client. The couple that said they're selling changed their mind last minute. Like, just everything was like, well, maybe it was a sign to take some time off, vacation. I don't know. But by talking with a lot of brokers, everybody's got that I've spoken to. And you do not. Well, there you go. It's the first.
I just broke the record.
Well, now you will stand in my book.
It's called attitude. It's called
Are you saying I have a bad attitude?
No, not at all. I never look at something as derogatory. I look at it as a challenge. I get my aggravations. I'm dealing with many files right now where I'm going, do they not understand like just respect and politeness and answering in a reasonable time frame, letting me know what's going on? But I can honestly, like I've like all these questions you're throwing at me, I had no clue what you're asking me
No, no.
today. I think the only thing that stays in my mind, I remember way, way back when I was working with my dad and brother and that, and I was in the office, the Royal LePage office in St. Lambert. And we'd be sitting there, we'd be doing team meetings. We had a weekly meeting. It was like so much fun. And my daughters would come from school and they'd do their homework, and Grandpa was there and he'd open the drawer with the cookies. It was always
Great
fun.
memories, but also another thing is working with family also
Oh, it
comes
was
with
amazing.
many challenges, though.
Our family just we were like the Clampets. I don't know the name of it, or the what's the name of the shows when they have when they just get along so well. Our family was like amazing. We had so much fun together.
But there's still, family. How did you cope with the fact that you were always together? Like, you know what I mean? Like the personal stuff, the business stuff. It's true that being an agent, a realtor is a lifestyle. It's not a 9 to 5. So maybe
it was a lifestyle like that. Also, the fact that we just came from a family. My mother was French Canadian, and it was dinner for everybody around the table every Sunday, and even during the week if it was a holiday or a Christmas. So probably 70 dinners a year at my parents', 25 people around the table. It eventually grew to. And at one time, there were 7 of us in real estate in my family. And so a lot of the conversation, it was like real estate, and it was just like always fun. I mean, it sounds like really weird, but I never remember having an argument over real estate, anything with my dad, my brother, my family. No one.
Wow.
No one. No,
Well,
it was glorious fun. Aggravations, there's
Sure,
no
of course.
doubt there's aggravations with clients, and backstabbing can happen at
Yes.
times. I mean, not from the family, from other agents. I remember particularly one thing you're asking me, Etienne, my big brother. I was working on a deal, and he had the listing. No, it was the other way around. I had the listing, and he was bringing a buyer, and I was bringing a buyer. That's way long ago. So my listing, and he had an offer and I had an offer. And back then, you all sat together to present the offer. I'm dating myself, 34 years in real estate.
So everybody's sitting
Everybody
together
would sit there with the vendors, the agents presenting their offers.
You're competing for
And
it's like an auction?
it was like, well, it wasn't an auction,
No, but almost.
but everybody knew what the other one had. There was no secrecy. There was no, I mean, it was just all there.
So why did that stop, actually? What do you think? What do you think happened? Because it seemed like...
I remember one particular agent, I won't say her name.
No.
But this is, again, a long time ago. And I remember her jumping up during the presentation to the vendor named Jean. And he was a gentleman, a lawyer, very, very professional, very polite, offering us our cappuccino as we came in and everything. And she and I had an offer on his house. And it was, again, my listing. And then a third agent came in. So there was 3 of us around the table, all presenting our offers.
Whose listing is this now?
It was my listing.
Yours, okay.
Yeah. This particular agent suddenly put her hand up and said, I will cut my commission. And back then it was 7%. So 3.5. I will cut my commission to 2 to get my offer accepted. And she said this to the vendor in front of everybody. And I think it was circumstances like that probably propelled the real estate board. Like, you can't, first of all, you can't do that.
No,
but it was like, I had to get her alone afterwards and say, you don't, first of all, you cannot do that.
No, it's not very professional.
It was not professional at all. And I knew that she really probably wanted to make a sale. And the thing is, with people, they have to realize that when you're making sales, you're doing it for the client. You're not doing it for yourself. You have to think it's the client. You want them to be happy.
Well, that's a concept that's understood, I think, but it's another thing to apply it. And I believe that the reason is, and I've discussed this many times before, is that when you put yourself in a position where sometimes you're struggling financially, it becomes a battle of I have to take care of my needs, my basic needs, and that's the dangerous thing because we want to survive, and so we will think of our selfish self before others. When you get to a point of certain level of success, and if you do decide to not stay selfish and in a way, hear me out, then you can do things for communities and other people, and because you have the capability, the capacity to do more than just your immediate family or your immediate needs. But that's not everybody that will have that way of looking at things. But I believe strongly that those that sometimes their intentions are not to hurt or to do to not take care of their clients or whatever, but they get in a position where they have to pay their mortgage or their. So I don't know. I'm not either. I could be completely wrong with what I'm saying. I just.
No, you're not. I remember somebody saying to me, she had worked her way to becoming a realtor, and she'd worked hard. And I remember her saying to me, I have to make a certain amount. And she told me the dollar amount. I have to make this amount of sales this month. I have to pay my bills. And I remember thinking how fortunate I was that I basically raised my children by myself. And my parents were always there to help me, like open houses. I mean, everything. My parents were there because I just couldn't leave my children. I had a babysitter, but still. And I didn't want to have a latchkey child coming home. It was very important to me. So it was either the parents or a babysitter, or me. And I was like, I worked hard to succeed in life, but it wasn't a matter of wanting to succeed for the monetary part. It's just I love doing the other thing. I totally understand how somebody can go, I have to make this sale because I can understand that. But it's so hard, I think, for some people to understand. And I think again, it comes back to my values, because we were raised in our household. Like, you look in the eye, you shake a hand, you don't need a written contract. Like, we were raised very polite, thank you, please, excuse me, you're welcome, like manners galore, and with really good values. And it goes back to my parents, the way they were raised and the way I've raised my children. And I just couldn't see it in myself. I remember my father, we were in a commercial deal together, and I remember him introducing me, and he would, say, Karen is the star of the office. And I'd say, Daddy, don't say that. And I'd say, he's the star, the commercial star. So we'd be like each other's big fan club. And I remember him turning to me after one particular deal, and he said, you really pushed for the vendor to take the best offer and not yours. I said, the way you raised me, Dad, just because it's my offer, I would put the offers, and I have always done that. I put the offers in front of the client and go, here's the things. And it's not just price. Sometimes it can be occupation date. It could be the conditions, everything. Tell me what you feel comfortable with. And that's the way I feel people should work.
Yeah.
But I do understand what you're saying.
I'm not excusing anybody either, and I'm saying that there's always explanations for behaviors. Absolutely. And I'm a very curious individual. I like to understand, or I like to ask, and one thing is, yes, I am a stubborn individual, but I also want to know why someone else would not agree or see it the same way. So I spent a bit of time on that. I might be wrong, but. No, I've noticed that people that do, like you have the charity, and let's talk about that. But if to be able to do that most of the time, and again, it's not a scientific analysis here. But to be able to give your time and do things that don't necessarily directly pay or give to you, other than maybe the feeling of being able to help and give, you have to be. Taking care of yourself to a level where you feel like I've accomplished, or I've taken care of my family, or my needs, or the goals that I had set. I don't know. Well, because how can you think of others if you
can't take care of yourself.
I totally agree. It's like the old saying, how can you love anybody if you don't love yourself? How can you respect others if you don't respect yourself? It all comes down to, it's not being selfish. When they say about the oxygen mask in an aircraft or in an airplane, you cannot put it on the little child first. You have to put it on yourself first, so you don't lose consciousness to take care of the little one.
Exactly.
When it comes to charity work, it's just, again, we were raised in that atmosphere. My parents started, my mother was the backbone of all of this, being at home and running her businesses and everything else. But my father started the St. Lambert CSA basketball program. And that was in the early 60s in St. Lambert. And it propelled into 5 or 6 different teams that he was running. And all over and this was not a paid job. This was a part. So we were raised to get involved in the community and do things. And really, he was really happy that he was able to get, basically every basketball team had 12 players.
But he must have felt appreciated by the family. He must have felt a sense of, I've accomplished my duty in regards to my spouse and my kids.
You're absolutely right.
And so that I can, I have the energy, I have the health, the mental capacity to do more. So I'm gonna do this.
I don't think you can do charity work unless, first of all, like you're saying, that you feel good with yourself. You don't really, and I'm not a 1-2. You can't measure anyone's pain or whatever. But when people are involved in charity work, I think they're basically, they want to help others because they're grateful for what they have. And I'm a very grateful person for what I have. I have 2 beautiful daughters. One just got married. The other one's getting married next summer. I have a nice life. And I look at it like the old-fashioned way. I have a roof over my head, good food. I don't have to worry. Listen, way back, I do remember sitting in the office, way back, again at the Royal LePage office, like 30 years ago. I'm looking at my dad, and it was November. And I remember the listings were starting, like they were all selling, which is great, but then I didn't see any other listings. And you kind of wonder, gee whiz, Dad, I wonder if I'm going to get, and I remember saying that to him, like it's coming back in my memory now. But I never worried. I just said, it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen.
No, I worry. It's funny that you say that because I'm remembering Decembers and Januaries, and it was like, oh, how am I going to do this again? You know, like.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not a job for the faint of heart.
No.
You have to be hardworking, and people ask me why, like, where my success, like, what do I attest it to? And I go, hard work, persistence, patience. Patience is like up there, and never give up.
Yeah.
My specialty, Etienne, is saving deals that are tanking. That's my specialty. I like to roll up my sleeves.
See, I'm similar with pretty much everything in my life. I don't quit.
I don't quit.
If you're here, it's because you're taking your career seriously. Etienne Meller will help you get to that next level as long as you're willing to do the work to be able to get there. Now, whether you're a divorced person, whether you're retired, whether you just started out, you might be young, you might not think that you have what it takes to get to the next level, there's something here for everybody. So he'll take the time to show you the ropes, looking at it not as a teacher versus a student, but more as a partnership. And by doing that, you'll be able to get the results that you're looking for. He's always hands-on. He's always willing to do the work and to show you how it's supposed to be done. So it's not an opportunity that will last forever. Take the time, click below, fill out the form. Follow us and find out how we could be instrumental in your success.
To a point where it aggravates me.
It drives people nuts.
Well, I cannot quit. I can't. So when you talk about a transaction, I always, even if it was refused or the broker says, yeah, and they're like, well, what we told you we're not. I said, well, let's keep it going.
It says refuse. I will. It's funny you say that because I don't think I can remember writing refused on my side.
No.
I always say to a client, go again, go again. I remember having 10 counter offers.
Yes.
Go again, go again.
Even if it's higher.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they got upset.
Yeah.
Like they got insulted.
They're insulted.
We're refusing. No.
With a high count. And then you'll never know. So, and
I want to talk about I want you to tell us about the toy.
The toy drive.
The toy drive. This is, it says the 26th, but I don't know if this is.
This is, well, now we're starting our 27th.
27th.
Yes.
So what is that all about?
Well, again, my family being very close. My brother Kim had I have three brothers, two are in heaven. And Kim was a real estate agent for about a year, but he was doing it just a little bit part-time because he was working with Badshaw. And he would bring home the most amazing children for stayovers to have a nice family atmosphere.
What is Badshaw? Because
sorry, Badshaw is a it's a home. They had one up in up north and in downtown Montreal. It's a place for children from broken homes, and they have a lot of family difficulties. So he was the director of, I believe he had 300 volunteers working for him. Okay. And he passed very suddenly. He was only 57 years old, and his funeral was on national television. Like so many people were coming. It was incredible on the 6 and 11 o'clock news. He was a hero. I feel like my brothers, my dad, I feel like they were all heroes. And this particular brother, Kim, was sitting in the office. We were having our team meeting and having fun. And he said, you know what, why don't we do something? And at the time, geez, I hadn't remembered this. Our first thing we did was, it was after there was something that happened with the 1998, and it was the trees.
Oh, the freezing rain.
The freezing rain.
The power outage.
Yes.
Yes. I remember that.
Geez, I'd forgotten about this. Thank you, Etienne. This is fun memories. So we actually did a draw that year. We went around to different organizations and companies in St. Lambert, where our Royal LePage office was, and we had a weekly draw, and we were celebrating 85 years of Royal LePage. So if I'm right, 1998, 85, does that make sense?
Okay. That is about right. Yeah.
So we were giving gift certificates once a week for 10 weeks for $85 to go to a tree nursery and plant a tree in your yard to get trees back into the life after the ice storm.
Yeah.
So we did that year, and then Kim came up with this. He had fabulous ideas, and Kim started throwing this idea around because he worked a lot with CJD and Terry DeMontigny and other people with toy drives. And he said, you know, why don't we do a toy drive? Hey, that's a really good idea. So we started. It was just this little thing at Royal LePage. We had a toy chest that we bought at Toys R Us. We put it in the front. I had this big sign made at the printing company who did our signs. And being a St. Lambert citizens for a very long time, my father had been in charge of the basketball programs for many years, so he knew the mayors, he knew everybody. So we got a hold of the fire department. Oh, this is great memories. And came the first Saturday in December, which always seemed to fall near my second daughter's birthday. We had 2 fire trucks that went around the city of St. Lambert.
Wow.
And they started at either end on the Saturday. And we did that for years. And behind the fire trucks was a truck, and this was all donated by St. Lambert. And it was to collect toys that people would leave at their front doors.
So nice.
Wow, I hadn't thought of that. So we had to have a place for it. And it turned out that I seemed to always have a rental property or a place that had a place to put all of these toys. Storage.
So for 27, this is the 27th year? Same concept, or it's changed?
We changed it when it was the amalgamation with the cities and all of that. So I went back to the mayors and I spoke to the mayor at the time. And then I had this idea with the city of St. Lambert built a beautiful new recreation center on Oak Avenue, 600 Oak Avenue in St. Lambert. It's got the pool, the arena, and everything else. And when Kim passed, he had this huge sailor's chest in his office, and they shipped it to my dad's house. And I said, Dad, you know what? That would be really good to have. And I think it's actually in the picture.
I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. We're quite far on the camera there, but.
No, it's not here, but I could send it to you. But that's my brother, Kim.
Okay.
So I set up this toy chest. I thought the perfect spot to put it, rather than in an office, would be at a sports center. And in St. Lambert, this recreation center is open at 6 in the morning till 10 at night, 7 days a week. And who goes there? The parents bringing their children for hockey and skating and swimming.
So it gets the visibility.
So it gets the visibility. So I've got it there. They set it up for me November the 1st. They store it for me all year long. The city of St. Lambert has an employee every day that empties the chest because it flows out on the floor, all the donations. They bring it to a skating arena for me. We collect between 4,500 and 5,000 gently used toys every year. But during about 6 or 7 years ago, my 2 daughters got involved with me on this because, you know, my dad had passed and my brother. So my 2 daughters, Melanie and Stephanie, the 3 of us now do it with also monetary donations. And we raise a nice amount of money that I can go to a local shop in St. Lambert to give them business. Am I allowed to say the name?
Sure, of course.
Oh, Shop
Absolutely.
Hershey. Shop Hershey.
Shop Hershey.
Wonderful toy store right in the heart of St. Lambert, because I'm a firm believer in giving back to the community.
100%.
You know, my grocery, everything. So I go in there and I buy like a lot. I bought 100 toys last week. Toys,
So
games,
these
and puzzles.
dates, you said it starts May.
It started November the
November
1st and it goes till December 15th.
So perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
This was
you.
very, very
This was
nice to
lovely.
to
Thank
get
you.
to know you and everything you're doing. I think it's great,
Well, I love my life. I love my
and it
my
shows.
career,
I feel it.
and I'm passionate about it. It's a lot of fun. There's aggravations.
You have to enjoy it. You
Yeah.
have to enjoy the whole
Yes,
thing, the process.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Etienne. Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure.